Every morning we wake with a silent battle already waiting for us. The battle is not against the world. It is not against rivals, critics, or those who wish to see us fail. The battle begins in the hidden chambers of our own mind, before a single word leaves our lips, before our feet touch the ground, before the world demands our attention. We have already made a choice. We will either govern ourselves or surrender ourselves. Most people never notice the moment they lose. They imagine defeat arrives with disaster. They believe failure announces itself with pain. Yet the greatest losses happen quietly. A wasted morning, a distracted hour, an uncontrolled reaction, a careless sentence, a trust placed in the wrong hands. Piece by piece the fortress falls, until one day they wonder why their life belongs to everyone except themselves. The ancient philosophers warned us that no empire can stand if its ruler cannot command his own soul. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the mind becomes colored by the quality of its thoughts. Every sunrise was therefore an invitation. Guard the mind, or watch it become the servant of chance. We share that invitation today. We live in an age where attention is hunted more aggressively than gold. Every voice demands that we look. Every screen demands that we react. Every distraction whispers that one more moment will not matter. Yet Seneca gave us a warning that echoes through the centuries. It is not that we have a short time to live. It is that we waste much of it. Those words strike like cold iron because they expose the truth we often refuse to face. Time is not merely passing. Time is choosing. Every hour either strengthens our character or weakens it. Every decision either builds the ruler within us or feeds the tyrant of impulse. Nothing remains still. Every sunrise is an investment. Every sunset reveals where that investment was placed. This is why our journey cannot begin with controlling others. Anyone can attempt to influence another person. Anyone can manipulate appearances. Anyone can wear confidence for a day. But only a disciplined soul can command itself when nobody is watching. Epictetus taught that no person is free who is not master of himself. Those words remain as sharp today as when they were first spoken. The world teaches us to seek power outside ourselves. It tells us that influence comes through wealth, popularity, status, or applause. Yet these things are borrowed. They belong to fortune as much as they belong to us. Fortune gives. Fortune takes. What remains after everything else disappears is the kingdom within. Today we begin rebuilding that kingdom. Not with noise, not with pride, but with quiet authority. The authority that no crowd can grant and no enemy can steal. Because the strongest throne any human being will ever possess is mastery over the self. And every true victory begins there. The first kingdom we must reclaim is time. Nothing reveals the condition of a soul more clearly than the way it spends its hours. We often believe our greatest enemy is another person. Yet our greatest enemy usually wears the face of comfort. It invites us to delay what matters. It convinces us that tomorrow carries more value than today. It whispers that one more distraction cannot possibly change our destiny. But destiny is never stolen in one dramatic moment. It disappears in fragments. One careless morning becomes a careless week. One careless week becomes a careless year. Eventually, a lifetime stands behind us, and we cannot understand where it went. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that every action should be performed as though it were the last worthy act of his life. Imagine carrying that thought into every sunrise. Imagine treating each hour as sacred instead of ordinary. Suddenly, time is no longer something we spend. It becomes something we protect. Most people surrender the first moments of the day before they have spoken a single meaningful thought. Their attention belongs to strangers before it belongs to themselves. Their emotions are shaped by voices they never chose. Their direction is decided by whatever noise reaches them first. They begin the day already serving another master. We must refuse that life. The morning belongs to silence before it belongs to the world. It belongs to reflection before reaction. It belongs to purpose before entertainment. The soul that learns this secret walks through the day differently. It no longer chases every invitation. It no longer fears missing what never deserved its attention. Seneca urged us to protect life as though every hour carried immeasurable value. He knew that people guard their money with suspicion, yet scatter their time without regret. This contradiction destroys more dreams than poverty ever could. We should ask ourselves a difficult question each dawn. Who deserves the next hour of our existence? Is it fear? Is it comfort? Is it distraction? Or is it the highest version of ourselves waiting patiently to be built? Every meaningful life is constructed one guarded hour at a time. Greatness does not suddenly appear. It accumulates through decisions that seem invisible to everyone except the one making them. While the world searches for shortcuts, we build foundations. While others chase endless stimulation, we cultivate attention. While they measure success by applause, we measure it by the promises we keep when nobody is watching. The person who masters time discovers something extraordinary. Freedom is not found by having more hours. Freedom is found by ruling the hours already given. And once we understand that truth, every sunrise becomes less like another ordinary day and more like another opportunity to strengthen the kingdom that can never be taken from within. The tongue reveals the condition of the mind long before actions reveal the condition of the character. Every careless word opens a gate that should have remained closed. Every unnecessary explanation hands another piece of ourselves to people who have not earned the right to hold it. We often believe power belongs to those who speak the most. Yet history repeatedly shows that the deepest influence belongs to those who know when silence carries greater weight than speech. Epictetus offered a simple discipline. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen more than we speak. This is not merely advice for conversation. It is instruction for life. Every moment of restraint strengthens judgment. Every pause creates space for wisdom to enter where impulse once ruled. The world encourages constant expression. It celebrates immediate reactions. It praises those who announce every thought before it has matured into understanding. Yet the strongest minds move differently. They allow ideas to grow in silence. They protect intentions until they become actions. They understand that words lose value when they arrive before preparation. Many of our greatest regrets were spoken long before they were committed. Anger borrowed our tongue. Pride borrowed our voice. Fear demanded an explanation. Loneliness begged for approval. None of these emotions were worthy rulers, yet we placed the crown upon their heads without resistance. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the best revenge is not to become like the one who caused the injury. Those words demand more than forgiveness. They demand restraint. When insult arrives, we do not rush to answer it. When mockery appears, we do not surrender our peace to defend our image. We remain still because our dignity was never placed inside another person's opinion. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness. Yet silence born from discipline is one of the greatest demonstrations of inner authority. It is easy to argue. It is difficult to remain composed while the ego demands a battle. It is easy to explain ourselves endlessly. It is far more difficult to let our conduct become the only explanation we ever need. We should ask ourselves before every important sentence, does this create clarity? Does this strengthen virtue? Does this deserve to exist once spoken? If the answer remains uncertain, then silence has already given us the wiser path. The tongue can become a sword that wounds its owner long before it reaches anyone else. But guided by wisdom, it becomes something far greater. It becomes a precise instrument that serves justice rather than emotion. It speaks only when truth requires a voice. It remains silent whenever pride seeks attention. In that discipline, we discover that real strength is never measured by how much we say. It is measured by how completely we govern the desire to speak. Temper is the hidden battlefield where every human destiny is decided. Most people believe they lose because they lack opportunity. They blame circumstances, enemies, or misfortune. Yet again and again, the greatest defeats begin inside. One uncontrolled moment destroys what years of discipline patiently built. One burst of anger shatters trust. One emotional decision changes the direction of an entire life. The world mistakes emotional intensity for strength. It applauds loud reactions and dramatic displays of feeling. But the person who cannot command emotion has already surrendered command of himself. Every insult becomes a chain. Every criticism becomes a weapon. Every disappointment becomes another force pulling his life away from its true direction. Seneca warned that anger is temporary madness. Consider the weight of those words. Madness does not always shout. Sometimes it speaks through perfectly ordinary voices. It convinces us that revenge will heal pain. It whispers that immediate action is wiser than patient judgment. It paints destruction with the colors of justice. Only after the storm passes do we recognize how much was lost. We must become observers before becoming responders. Every emotion carries information, but not every emotion deserves authority. Fear may warn us. Anger may expose an injustice. Sadness may reveal what truly matters. Yet none of them should occupy the throne. They are advisors, never rulers. Marcus Aurelius practiced returning to himself whenever chaos surrounded him. He understood that the world cannot always be governed, but the response to the world remains within our reach. That truth separates the enslaved mind from the liberated one. External events belong to fortune. Our character belongs to us. When another person attempts to provoke us, they are not simply testing our patience. They are measuring whether our peace depends upon their behavior. If they discover they can command our emotions, they have already discovered the strings by which they believe they can move us. We must cut those strings before anyone ever touches them. Calmness is not the absence of feeling. Calmness is disciplined feeling. It is the decision to let wisdom speak before emotion. It is the courage to delay action until clarity replaces impulse. It is the quiet confidence that no temporary storm deserves permanent consequences. There are victories the world never applauds. Walking away from an unnecessary conflict, refusing to answer an insult, remaining steady while others surrender to outrage. These moments rarely receive recognition, yet they strengthen the soul more than public triumph ever could. Each sunrise offers another opportunity to train this invisible discipline. We breathe before we answer. We reflect before we judge. We choose before we react. Slowly, the storms that once controlled us begin to lose their power. Not because life has become easier, but because we have become stronger than the forces that once ruled us. Trust is one of the greatest gifts we possess, yet it becomes one of our greatest dangers when given without wisdom. We are born with the desire to belong. We long to believe the good in others. We hope loyalty will always answer kindness. But life teaches us that hope without discernment often becomes the doorway through which suffering quietly enters. This does not mean we must become suspicious of every person we meet. A heart ruled by fear builds prisons instead of relationships. But a heart guided by wisdom understands that character reveals itself through time, not through promises. Words introduce people, actions reveal them. Epictetus reminded us that appearances are not reality. What seems trustworthy today may simply be wearing the clothing of convenience. Only pressure reveals what comfort hides. Only difficulty uncovers the principles a person truly serves. Anyone can appear loyal when loyalty costs nothing. The real measure arrives when truth demands sacrifice. We must therefore learn patience in the way we open the gates of our inner world. Not every smile deserves our confidence. Not every compliment deserves our belief. Not every shared struggle creates lasting loyalty. Time examines what emotion often overlooks. The deepest wounds rarely come from strangers. They come from expectations placed where wisdom should have stood. We suffer because we imagine permanence where there was only preference. We believe familiarity guaranteed faithfulness. We confuse closeness with character. Seneca encouraged choosing companions who help us become better human beings. The people surrounding us slowly shape the direction of our thoughts. Their habits become invitations. Their values become examples. Their standards quietly become our own. This is why choosing our company is never a small decision. It is a decision about the future version of ourselves. We should observe before we attach. We should listen before we believe. We should watch how people treat those who cannot benefit them. We should notice whether their words remain the same when circumstances change. Character is consistent. Performance depends upon an audience. There is strength in kindness, but kindness without judgment often becomes self-betrayal. There is beauty in forgiveness, but forgiveness does not require us to surrender wisdom. We may release resentment without reopening every closed door. We may wish others well without inviting them back into places they have already proven unable to honor. As our judgment matures, something remarkable begins to happen. Our circle becomes smaller, but our peace becomes greater. We stop chasing acceptance. We stop fearing solitude. We discover that a quiet life surrounded by genuine character is richer than a crowded life built upon uncertain loyalty. Trust then becomes neither fear nor blindness. It becomes a deliberate expression of wisdom, given slowly, strengthened through consistency, protected by discernment. In that balance, we preserve both our compassion and our freedom. Something changes when we master time, tongue, temper, and trust. The change is not immediately visible to the world. It begins where no applause can reach. It begins in the quiet decisions repeated every day. We become less available to distraction, less vulnerable to manipulation, less dependent upon approval. Without realizing it, we become increasingly difficult to move from the path we have chosen. Most people live according to whatever pulls hardest at the moment. Praise lifts them, criticism crushes them, success fills them with pride, failure empties them of hope. Their direction changes with every passing wind because nothing solid exists within them. They search for stability outside themselves while neglecting the only place where it can truly exist. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If our thoughts belong to fear, then fear governs our life. If our thoughts belong to vanity, then vanity becomes our prison. But when our thoughts belong to reason, courage, justice, and discipline, the soul slowly takes the shape of those virtues. This is why we must stop asking whether the world accepts us. The better question is whether we accept the standards required by our own conscience. Approval is unstable. Character endures. Popularity fades. Integrity remains. There comes a moment when people notice they can no longer predict us. We no longer argue simply because someone invites conflict. We no longer reveal every ambition before it has matured. We no longer sacrifice our peace merely to satisfy another person's expectations. Some will misunderstand this transformation. Others will resist it. A few may even resent it. Yet none of these reactions should influence our direction. Epictetus taught that if we seek things outside our control, we become their servant. Freedom begins the moment we withdraw that dependence. We stop needing every conversation to end in agreement. We stop needing every relationship to remain forever. We stop needing every effort to receive immediate reward. Our peace no longer depends upon outcomes. It depends upon the quality of our own conduct. The disciplined mind cannot easily be purchased with comfort. It cannot easily be threatened with rejection. It cannot easily be distracted by temporary pleasure. This is the quiet strength that grows without announcing itself. It does not seek admiration. It seeks alignment between principle and action. Every temptation becomes another opportunity to choose who we are becoming. Every difficulty becomes another chance to strengthen what comfort could never build. We slowly discover that real freedom has nothing to do with escaping hardship. Real freedom is refusing to let hardship decide the condition of our soul. The world may continue changing around us. Fortune may rise and fall. People may arrive and depart. Seasons may bring abundance or scarcity. Yet the person who governs himself carries a kingdom that survives every external storm. That is the beginning of a life no longer ruled by circumstance, but directed by deliberate choice. Respect is one of the most misunderstood pursuits in human life. Many spend years trying to convince the world that they deserve it. They speak louder. They display more. They defend themselves at every opportunity. Yet the harder they chase respect, the further it seems to move away. Respect cannot be demanded. It is quietly invited by the consistency of our character. The ancient teachers never asked us to become impressive. They asked us to become worthy. Worthiness does not seek attention. It develops itself in private, until its presence becomes impossible to ignore. The person who keeps his promises to himself begins carrying a different weight, not because his appearance has changed, but because his spirit has become trustworthy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. Those few words contain an entire philosophy of life. The world has heard enough speeches about virtue. What it longs to witness is virtue embodied. Our conduct speaks with a voice that words can never imitate. Presence is born from alignment. When thoughts, words, and actions serve the same principles, people sense it without understanding why. There is no performance to maintain. There is no mask to protect. There is only a quiet certainty that remains unchanged whether surrounded by applause or silence. Many attempt to appear confident while secretly negotiating with every fear inside them. They seek admiration because they have not yet earned self-respect. But self-respect grows differently. It is built each time we choose discipline instead of comfort. Each time we remain honest when deception appears easier. Each time we honor our values, even when nobody would know if we abandon them. Seneca believed that the greatest wealth is a mind content with itself. Such a person no longer enters every room asking to be noticed. His attention is directed toward living well rather than appearing important. Ironically, this is often the person others notice first. Quiet conviction carries a gravity that performance can never imitate. We should become careful guardians of our standards. Every compromise made for temporary acceptance weakens the foundation beneath us. Every promise broken to ourselves teaches the soul that our own word cannot be trusted. Over time, this silent betrayal becomes heavier than any criticism another person could ever offer. But every promise honored creates the opposite effect. We rise a little straighter. We think a little clearer. We face difficulty with greater steadiness because we know our own character has already survived countless invisible battles. Confidence no longer depends upon success. It rests upon evidence collected through faithful action. This is the presence that commands genuine respect. It does not force itself upon others. It simply exists with unwavering consistency. Those who value character will recognize it. Those who seek manipulation will avoid it. Either outcome serves the same purpose. The soul remains undisturbed because it no longer measures its worth by the changing opinions of the crowd. In the end, we discover that discipline is not another habit. It is the foundation beneath every lasting achievement. Without discipline, our intentions remain beautiful ideas that never become reality. We dream of becoming wiser while repeating foolish patterns. We admire strength while feeding weakness. We speak of purpose while surrendering our days to whatever demands the least effort. The world celebrates moments. It celebrates victories that can be photographed. It celebrates recognition that can be counted. Yet the deepest transformation happens where no audience exists. It happens during ordinary mornings when no one is watching. It happens when exhaustion asks us to stop and conviction quietly answers, continue. Epictetus reminded us that no great thing is created suddenly. Everything meaningful grows through repeated acts performed with patience. The oak does not appear in a single season. Character follows the same law. Every disciplined decision adds another stone to the inner fortress. Every excuse removes one. We should never wait for inspiration to rescue us. Inspiration is welcome when it arrives, but it cannot be trusted to remain. The disciplined soul works whether enthusiasm is present or absent. It understands that feelings are visitors. Principles are permanent companions. There will be mornings when the body asks for comfort. There will be evenings when the mind asks for surrender. There will be seasons when progress appears invisible. These are the moments that separate those who merely admire excellence from those who quietly become it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what stands in the way becomes the way. Difficulty is not the interruption of the journey. Difficulty is the journey. Every obstacle carries within it another opportunity to strengthen patience, courage, wisdom, or endurance. Nothing meaningful is wasted when received with the right mind. Many people believe power means controlling others. They imagine authority is measured by influence over crowds. But the greatest authority belongs to the person who no longer negotiates with his own lower nature. Laziness speaks, yet he continues. Fear whispers, yet he advances. Comfort invites, yet he declines. In these invisible victories, he becomes unconquerable long before the world notices his success. The disciplined life is not cold because it rejects emotion. It is peaceful because it refuses to let emotion become the ruler. Joy becomes deeper because it is no longer dependent upon pleasure. Confidence becomes stronger because it no longer depends upon praise. Hope becomes steadier because it rests upon action instead of wishing. Slowly the results appear, not as sudden miracles, but as quiet evidence. The mind becomes clearer. The heart becomes steadier. The voice becomes calmer. The choices become wiser. Others may call it talent. Others may call it luck. We know something different. We know every visible victory was born from countless invisible decisions that no one else ever witnessed. There comes a moment when we stop seeking revenge and begin seeking transformation. This is the moment our life changes forever. The world expects us to answer injury with injury. It expects us to carry bitterness like a badge of honor. It expects every wound to become another excuse for becoming the very thing we once opposed. But wisdom walks another path. The person who truly governs himself understands that resentment is another form of captivity. Every hour spent replaying old betrayals is an hour surrendered to people who no longer deserve our attention. Every thought consumed by revenge strengthens the memory of the injury instead of the strength of the soul. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the best revenge is not to resemble those who cause the harm. There is immense freedom hidden inside those words. We no longer measure justice by another person's suffering. We measure victory by our own growth. We refuse to allow another person's choices to determine the quality of our character. Pain is inevitable. Every human being will experience disappointment. Every heart will carry scars. Every life will encounter betrayal, failure, rejection, and loss. These experiences do not determine who we become. Our response determines everything. The disciplined soul asks different questions. Instead of asking why this happened to us, we ask what this experience is trying to teach us. Instead of asking who deserves blame, we ask which part of ourselves must become stronger. Instead of remaining prisoners of memory, we become students of adversity. Seneca believed that difficulty reveals the quality of a person's character. Calm seas never created skilled sailors. Likewise, an easy life rarely produces deep wisdom. Every hardship becomes another opportunity to strengthen patience. Every disappointment becomes another invitation to practice courage. Every setback becomes another chance to refine judgment. We begin turning every wound into discipline. Every insult becomes another reason to improve ourselves instead of defending ourselves. Every rejection becomes another reason to sharpen our purpose instead of questioning our worth. Every betrayal reminds us to choose our trust with greater wisdom. Slowly, the energy once consumed by anger becomes fuel for excellence. The remarkable truth is that results speak with a voice no argument can equal. We no longer need to convince people we have changed. Our conduct reveals it. Our peace reveals it. Our discipline reveals it. The person who once reacted now reflects. The person who once complained now creates. The person who once chased approval now walks quietly in the direction of purpose. This is how we silence doubt, not by defeating those who doubted us, by becoming someone whose life stands as undeniable evidence that the soul guided by wisdom can never be permanently defeated. Every step forward becomes another answer that requires no explanation. We arrive at the final lesson. The greatest victory is not over another person. It is over the self we once allowed to rule us. The impatient self, the fearful self, the distracted self, the version that traded peace for approval and purpose for comfort. That person does not disappear in a single day. He fades each time we refuse to feed the habits that kept him alive. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that our life becomes what our thoughts make of it. If that is true, then every day we hold the brush that colors our existence. We can paint another picture of hesitation and regret, or we can create one of courage, wisdom, and quiet strength. The The choice belongs to no one else. Our time becomes a throne because we guard it with intention. Our tongue becomes a servant of truth because we refuse to waste words. Our temper becomes a shield because we no longer surrender it to every passing insult. Our trust becomes a gate because we open it only to those whose character has earned the right to enter. These are not separate disciplines. They are pillars holding the same temple together. Remove one, and the structure weakens. Strengthen all of them, and the soul becomes steady enough to withstand whatever fortune places before it. The ancient philosophers never promised an easy life. They promised something greater. They promised that no hardship could conquer the person who first conquered himself. Wealth may disappear, health may decline, friends may leave, empires may fall, yet the disciplined mind remains a kingdom that cannot easily be invaded. From this day forward, let us walk with greater awareness. Let us rise before distraction claims another morning. Let us speak only when wisdom has examined our words. Let us meet anger with reason. Let us place trust where character has been proven. Let every decision become another stone laid upon the foundation of a life built to endure. When others chase attention, we will pursue excellence. When others seek applause, we will seek integrity. When others surrender to impulse, we will remain faithful to principle. Slowly the world will notice what we never tried to display, not because we demanded recognition, but because genuine strength cannot remain hidden forever. People may never understand the battles we fought in silence. They may never see the temptations we overcame before the sun had fully risen. They may never know the discipline that shaped our character one ordinary day after another. That does not matter. The soul does not require witnesses to become noble. It requires only the courage to remain faithful to what is right. And when life places us before another trial, as it surely will, we will remember the truth that guided us from the beginning. No one can steal the kingdom we refuse to abandon. No one can rule the mind that has learned to govern itself. No one can move the person whose foundation rests upon wisdom rather than circumstance.